What is going on, people? Hope you're all staying healthy and well amidst this situation we got going on here. So right now I'm currently on spring break, even though it really doesn't feel like it. But today I want to bring you guys a video talking about how the coronavirus has been impacting college students such as myself. But before I get into that, first I want to say, and I hate to be the guy to say this because it sounds so cheesy, but honestly, I'm a firm believer that we should be making the best out of any situation, no matter how terrible it might be. And with all this new downtime we have, instead of playing Call of Duty Warzone, you know who you are, you should be taking this opportunity to learn a new skill. And in my humble opinion, with the stock market falling, it is one of the best times to start learning and getting into stock market investing. If you want to get into stock market investing, get a free stock, and also help your favorite little YouTuber, click the link in the description down below to sign up for Robinhood. We both will be getting a free stock if you click through that link, so please do so. You'll be helping my channel out, you'll be helping me try to monetize this channel, but you'll also get a free stock during a time that is really optimal to be getting into the stock market. So with that said, I just wanted to say that, I just want to put it out there, but let's get on to the video. Alright, so get into the video. So the biggest change by far is the fact that we're going to be migrating from in-person classes to online only classes, and I believe most schools are using this platform called Zoom. To me, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know why we're not diversifying and using like Google Hangouts, Skype, Oovu, House Party. Obviously I'm joking about the last two, but like if this entire like school system in this country is moving to this one platform, is it really gonna have the infrastructure to support like a buttload of activity from the hours of like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday? Some of my professors are already saying like, okay, you know, I don't expect this to go very well. There's gonna be malfunctions. So if this doesn't work out, like here's my number. Like we're just gonna like FaceTime in class or something like that, which honestly is gonna be pretty funny. Now at first they were saying that we're gonna have online classes for an indefinite period of time, and at the time I was like kind of excited about it. Like I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I thought it would be kind of neat for like a little while, like maybe a couple weeks. But recently, now that the situation is pretty serious, they've announced that we're gonna have online classes for the rest of the semester, which honestly it sucks, man, because if you really think about it, like for one thing, a lot of my classes are like participation based, and like there's a lot of team activity, and a lot of like pretty much all my classes had like end of the semester presentations. So like I don't know if we're gonna be presenting on the webcam or whatnot, but I think that's gonna be kind of weird. And really, it's gonna take so much willpower to actually show up to these live meetings, because I have classes back to back, 6 hours straight, Monday through Wednesday, and really I'm just gonna be sitting there like a vegetable the whole time. Like I'm not looking forward to it at all, but like it is the current reality right now. And even some students have even talked about like getting like tuition reimbursement because we're not really getting an education. But I don't know if that's actually gonna come, like I don't know if that's actually gonna turn into anything. Now outside classes and everything like that, they've also announced that all campus facilities, including like the campus rec center, the gyms, the libraries, all those facilities are also going to be closed for an indefinite period of time. So as far as we know, all those facilities that I just mentioned could be closed for, and likely will be closed for, the rest of the semester, which has led students to actually start petitions talking about some form of like prorated reimbursements on our tuition, which personally for me, I don't believe that's like realistic, just because technically we're still getting an education. Now a subpar education, since we're gonna be looking in front of like a computer screen for the rest of the semester. But what I personally think makes much more sense is some form of prorated reimbursement on our student fees. So just to clarify, student fees are fees that apply to resources such as like the counseling center, libraries, buses, gyms, and since pretty much all of them are be closed, I think it's realistic to say that we deserve a prorated reimbursement on our fees if they're not going to be going to these facilities, and if we're not going to have access to them. So tuition reimbursement, while I'm not complaining about that, like I'd love to get my money back, I just don't think it's that realistic. But student fees, definitely I think we deserve our money back on that. Okay, so moving on to housing. So originally, like 2 weeks ago, they're saying that you would have the choice to come back on campus after spring break if you so desire, meaning no one was required to leave if they don't want to. Now, of course, classes are online, so if you live in California, it might make sense just to stay there to save you the plane ticket back. But now that the situation is being taken much more seriously, and there's a potential for a lockdown in Illinois itself, they're mandating that all students move out by March 28th if they want to be reimbursed a prorated amount on their housing cost. Now don't get confused, they're not closing the dorms outright. Like, they're about half of the dorms are still going to be open for students that still want to stay, such as international students or just people that feel like it'll be safer to be on campus rather than back at home. But of course, they're trying to get as many people out by the 28th as possible. But essentially, they're trying to get as many students off campus as soon as possible. That's why they have that March 28th deadline. And if you don't move out by March 28th, you're not going to get your money back. Which in my mind makes sense because we're given a decent amount of time to actually like move out and everything. But my question and my concern is the fact that if Illinois goes on lockdown, are they going to be extending that deadline? Because obviously if we live up here in the Chicago suburbs, we can't really move out if there's a lockdown here, right? So I don't know how that situation is going to play out. I assume they're going to be extending that deadline until at least like the lockdown is over. But then again, we don't know how long the lockdown is actually going to take place. So I guess we just got to see what happens next. And that's really going to be the recurring trend you hear. Like the university, I assume they're trying the hardest they can on like holding the situation down and doing whatever is best for like safety and everything. But they're just as confused as we all are. Like, that's my humble opinion. Like, I feel like they're really just making this as they go as well. So that's pretty much the state that we're in currently. So moving on to student employees. All right, so for RAs such as yours truly, it's been quite a ride. So first, about 2 weeks ago, they were saying that we were required to return for our role. But then as of like a few days ago, now that the situation is much more serious, we're actually being given two options. So the first option is to resign for the remainder of the spring 2020 semester. So like you move out like everyone else and you just return home and you come back, fall 2020 semester as an RA again. Like there's no penalties associated with it. But the second option is a little more interesting. It's you get to come back, but for one thing, you get to stay at one of the nicer dorms because those are the only ones that are going to be open. So if you come from like a, let's call it lesser ideal dorm such as myself, we're going to have the opportunity to actually stay at one of the nicer dorms. So I guess that's a plus, But on top of that, you also get an extra $100 stipend onto like what you normally make. So that's obviously, icing on the cake. Like, I'll take it, right? And then the dining hall is still going to be open, but it's going to be kind of weird because it's only like to-go style. So you walk into the dining hall, you grab your food, and then instead of sitting down and eating at the dining hall, since there's that like 50-person policy rule, you just take your paper plate and then you leave. So of course that's going to suck because you can't really get to talk to your friends and whatnot. But I understand trying to do the social distancing thing, and in the long run, hopefully I think it's going to help out with it's going to help control this virus. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Hopefully it's like this for like 2 weeks, but that's the thing. We don't know what is actually going to happen in the future. And I'm going to be making update videos to keep you guys in the loop, see what's going on, because, again, everything's like changing super fast. Like they're making these policies super quickly. So I'm going to be making videos about online classes. I'm going to be making videos about like campus life, amidst this whole situation. So stay tuned for that. Last thing I want to touch on is local businesses. So like the businesses around campus. Now, as far as I know, restaurants, all bars and restaurants are closed. Restaurants are, however, going to be taking like takeout only. On top of that, with the lockdown, coming soon, these businesses are going to be closed. And that's something I'm really concerned about, just because I'm not so much concerned about the fact that, I might catch coronavirus, because I think I'll be okay. But the long-term implications on these businesses, like some businesses are flat out going to have to dissolve, and people are gonna lose their livelihoods, which is honestly the most devastating part about this whole situation. The fact that businesses are actually gonna be they're being forced to close because of this. Wish the best for everything. I wanted to get a haircut. I texted my barber, but he says dude, I don't think I'm gonna be allowed to do this in the near future. I don't think you can get a haircut. So what do I think about this whole situation? What do I think the university can do to kind of improve the lives of college students and their families going through this currently? Because none of us know what's going to happen in the future, and pretty much anything is up in the air right now. I didn't think the state of Illinois was going to go on lockdown until today, when all my friends were telling me so. So I think the 3 things that colleges should do to help us out is 1, reimburse us back a prorated amount on our student fees, since I think this is something that makes sense. You don't really have to reimburse us on our tuition because we're still getting an education, but the fact of the matter is we're not using these closed facilities. So I think we deserve our money back in that regard. The second thing we can do is really be proactive with the situation, because you can kind of tell things are changing so fast, and everyone's kind of scrambling, including the university, the provost, and the whole upper management of these universities. They're trying to scramble and see what is the best course of action to take. But but a purely proactive role to actually stop this. I think that's gonna go a long way, because you know, if you're sending emails left and right and like changing like deadlines and whatnot, it's gonna take an effect for like families and students all across the country. So that's another thing they could do. And the third thing they can do is really look into this online class situation, because again, if we're all on one platform using Zoom, I just don't think it's realistic. Like, I think they need to look into something like either extending break, providing some sort of like alternative measure. I don't know, because I personally believe this online class thing isn't really gonna work. Like, there's gonna be people that don't show up. Like, I personally believe that I'm the type of person to be very disciplined in this type of things. I personally feel a little intimidated about 6 hours back-to-back online Zoom calls, like left and right. So I don't know. I think they need to find an alternative, but you know, we'll see how it goes. And now the big question: will I be returning back to campus? The answer is yes, and here's why. So the first main reason is the fact that all gyms are closed, so I really don't care where I am anymore. At first I thought, you know, I heard the school gym was gonna close, so I'm like, okay, I'll just lift up here, but everything's closed up here as well, so whoop-de-doo. I don't really care where I am in this regard. The second reason is that, in my opinion, I feel like being at school is actually safer than being up here in the Chicago suburbs, because obviously Chicago suburbs, with Chicago being right there, there's a lot more people up here, so I think being on campus would just be much more safer and, you know, a little more enjoyable. The third reason is the fact that if I do get it, in the case I do get the coronavirus, I don't want to be around my parents, you know? Like, again, I'm not too worried about getting the coronavirus and like being sick. Like, I think I'll be all right. Like, I might have like a cough or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, I don't want to be getting my parents sick, or people who are more susceptible to the disease. So in my opinion, you know, having these college kids like that might be doing some reckless stuff. I'm not saying that they're all doing it. I'm not saying that I'm doing it either. But you know, if we do get it, it is best to stay in our little bubble of like college age students. So like, I just think it's better to like spread it around other college students rather than, you know, spread it around like people that actually might be susceptible to the disease. And then the fourth reason being that it is financially a better choice for me. We have to think about the economic repercussions of this virus, right? Like, a lot of businesses are gonna be shut down, and I think in my situation, it's just wise to be a little bit more financially frugal and savvy during this time. Like, obviously I'm gonna be saving money from the dining hall, so I don't have to cover my food costs here. And on top of that, I'm gonna be getting that extra $100 stipend. So for me, it just makes financial sense. So with that said, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Oh my God, I literally recorded this video twice just because the first time the audio, like my mic wasn't working, which, God, it's annoyed me so much. Like, my voice is gone right now, but I might be a little bit more hyper in this video because I was drinking some 3D energy. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I hope you guys got something out of it. I'm gonna be making follow-up videos on this topic, talking about like how my online classes are going, talking about what campus life is like down there during like the lockdown, which I assume will be happening pretty soon. And again, I just want to reiterate, like, I know the situation sucks. You can't really go out, you can't eat at restaurants, you can't see your friends, you can't go to the gym. Pretty much the only fun thing to do is like play Call of Duty Warzone or something like that. But I promise you guys, take this opportunity to learn a new skill, and one of the best things you can do right now, I can't urge enough, is get into the stock market, right? Like, if you've been thinking about investing in stocks, but you're like too scared because you're like, okay, we're in a bubble where like the rally, it might be too high, or you're just like, you know, you just didn't have the time for it. Now is a perfect time to get into it, because stock market has been falling down. I don't know how much further it's going to go down, and I'm not saying it's at the bottom, but I promise you this will be a lifelong skill that's going to pay dividends over like the next 60 years, right? Like, this can very well change your life just by knowing, just by framing your mind different, thinking about investing. And if you want to use the platform that I personally use to trade my stocks, as well as get a free stock of your own, click the link in the description down below to sign up for Robinhood right now. It's super easy to use platform. It's beginner friendly as well. It's a platform that I personally use. And with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like down below. Leave a comment on what I should be covering next and what you got out of this video. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.